Night 3 of Big Brother 23 feeds are in the books, kinda. They always stay up late, these guys. I can't keep up with them every single night. This might be a little bit shorter, possibly, than the last two nights, only because I'm not going to do the whole recapping everyone's game at the end, because we will be having our first rankings of the season to air Saturday, so please check that out with me, Alex, Dazed, and Meg. But on to these feeds, and we will start with Frenchie's nominations. So yes, Mr. Fake Woke himself did say he would not put up any women or a person of color, but he ended up putting up two people of color, one of which is a woman. He nominated Alyssa and Kyland. I'm going to try and get into his head of why this was the case. So in Frenchie's measly little brain, he really thought Christian was coming after him hardcore. You see, Frenchie sees Christian as a threat, and with his HOH-itis ego, he thinks Christian sees him as a threat and is building this big alliance and is having a showmance with Alyssa after 2 days in the house. I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. And so in Frenchie's empty mind, he thinks that the best way to take a shot on Christian, to take a shot at Christian, is to go after the person he perceives as his potential showmance of Alyssa. And then Kyland, who was caught in the many lies, well, and then Kylan got caught up in drama that I talked about yesterday because him and Travis and Derek X were talking a lot, and Frenchie's assuming they have this three-person alliance, which is somewhat true. It's not really a three-person alliance. They were trying to make the Fighter Fires alliance along with Claire and Tiffany. So his plan was nominate those two, with Alyssa being the way to the big fish, being Christian. But see what this fucking nincompoop failed to do was talk to anybody about this before nominating. And he did this purposely for whatever reason. He didn't want anybody to know his nominations. I guess for the shock factor. I guess to be this fucking living caricature that he is. I don't know. So everybody's surprised because nobody knows the nominations. And here is Alyssa feeling like the big target because of whatever speech he said during his damn nomination ceremony. So after the nominations, everybody's just kind of trying to figure out what's going on. He tells Kylan that he is not the target, that Alyssa is the target to get to Christian. Now, to Alyssa's credit, this finally woke her up and got her into the game. And all of Frenchie's misogynist, I'm going to not put up a woman, only to put up a woman because he assumes Christian has a crush on her. Awful person. So Alyssa has a confrontation with Frenchie, and Frenchie wants to pull in Christian as well. So it's Frenchie and Christian and Alyssa all up in the room just trying to understand why. And in Frenchie's scattered, non-existent brain, he is trying to give them his train of thought. And in Frenchie's train of thought, it's like he's just spewing bullshit. All he has is a bunch of bullshit that he created in his mind off of assumptions for 2 days because he wasn't actually talking to anybody. He was just being super paranoid, sketched out making assumptions instead of just talking to people as the HOH to gain information. He's just been giving everybody information. So his excuse is he thinks that maybe since Travis and Kyland and Derek X are creating an alliance, that maybe Christian and Alyssa were a part of it. And Alyssa called him out on his bullshit of him thinking that she's in this big alliance because the other night Frenchie asked her a question of like, who do you feel comfortable with for an alliance or something to that effect? And she just basically answered the people in her team. So Frenchie was assuming that there was also this possible big alliance, including Christian. Alyssa, it's so hard to keep up with this fucking idiot. Sarah Beth and Xavier. I guess he thinks this. I don't know. I don't know where he stands with Xavier. I don't know where he stands with anybody. I don't know how anybody knows where they stand with him. And I'm glad that she called him out on why didn't he just put up Sarah Beth then? You know, that could have been someone else he put up instead of her, you know, two minorities when he said he wouldn't go after minorities. Gonna keep beating that point into the ground. So he pulls in Azza, his team, Brittany and Derek F, to try and get their opinions. They're telling him that they've never really heard Alyssa say anything bad about Frenchie. Nobody's really ever heard Christian say anything bad about Frenchie. He pulls in Brent to the room and tries to. I don't know what he's trying to accomplish. I really don't. So Brent and Christian have their little spat because they've been having this spat because of lies that Frenchie told them both. And while Brent might have this great social game, he's a dumbass too because he is just so hell bent on Frenchie telling him the truth when he's really hating Christian because of lies from Frenchie. And so they call up, well, he sends his team away. So Azza, Derek, F, and Brittany go away. And by the way, he just keeps throwing Brittany under the bus. He keeps making Brittany look suspicious. He's told people that Brittany's the person that brings info back to him. So messy in every way fucking possible. This walking human scummy mess of a mindless man. So Frenchie's like, he must have been played. And he's, of course, throwing Derek X under the bus to be the scapegoat because, you know, of course, Derek X is Asian, so he's the smart mastermind. So he's putting all this shit on Derek X. And of course, people eat that up because they want to save their own asses. And so the new plan becomes, hey, let's get people to win the veto so they could come off the block and Derek X can go up. So once again, he's back on Derek X. This man has gone through, told everybody they're safe while also having 6 or 7 targets. He's playing so many weeks in just 2 freaking days. And so I don't really know who's really buying what from this idiot. But I do know the gaslighting of Derek X is pretty gross. So you see with this show, and I made sure to make that first video about Allison Grodner and Rich the Bitch Meehan to really set the tone for my coverage this year of how I'm just tired of those two being in charge of this show because not only are they the worst producers of all time, but they have also catered to the racist part of their audience and just showed that they can be racist themselves. So now they have a lot of black people in the house. So now they have to guide people to go after Derek X. And the diary room has definitely played a part in these nominations because they have called in Frenchie early in the morning. They called him in again early in the morning, twice in a span of like between 2 a.m. and like, I want to say maybe 10 a.m. Frenchie had 2 different visits to the diary room. And I know they were trying to make sure that he nominated somebody that wasn't Travis for whatever reason, because Travis is bringing nothing. But anyway, let me get off that tangent for a second. I just brought that up because if Alison Goddard loves her fucking showmances, there's only two options right now. Because Christian and Alyssa, that's over. They've been seen as this showmance together. You really think Alicia, who I'm pretty sure has a boyfriend, I know people have said in the comments that she doesn't, but in social media, she had one not too long ago. So unless they broke up very recently, she has a boyfriend. But the only flirtmance that's really going on is Derek X and Azah. And I know Azah said that she doesn't want a showmance, but they definitely have the only flirt match going on. So with all of Rodner's interference with these stupid twists, she's gonna lose one of her potential showmances because she's so goddamn dumb. I need to praise the people that have managed to stay out of these messy meetings. And that is Hannah, Claire, and Tiffany. These last 24 hours of chaos, they have avoided Frenchie's ridiculous meetings, constant meetings, in and out of HOH rooms with different people, in and out of H rooms saying different things, in and out of HOH rooms just continuing to spiral out of control. This man and his lack of a brain, it's crazy. But big ups to Hannah, Claire, and Tiffany for just staying out of the mess. Although we will circle back to Hannah. I have to, I guess, talk about the slaughterhouse. Which slaughterhouse it is, I don't know, since everybody basically knows about the slaughterhouse except for Travis and Derek X. But right now, Frenchie has settled on the slaughterhouse being, well, the butchers within the slaughterhouse being himself, Derek F, Kyland, who we put on the block, Xavier, and Christian. So this is his little butchers within the slaughterhouse. So tonight, despite Derek F saying, let's just leave this alone. Derek F is so up to here with Frenchie's bullshit. But they decide, or Frenchie decides, Frenchie tells Whitney this before actually conferring with the rest of the group of who they should bring back into the group to be the rest of the slaughterhouse. So it ends up being Whitney, Brent, and Alyssa. Yes, both people that he put on the block are now in the Slaughterhouse Alliance. And Hannah ends up walking in on this happening, this big meeting going on in the HOH room. Frenchie tries to come up with some excuse about what they're talking about. Hannah goes, she wants to tell everybody in the room good night. Very smart of Hannah. Hannah's smarter than half the people in that room, let's be real. She goes in and really to give everybody a hug goodnight, but she's really just checking to see who's in the HOH room. All in all, Frenchie has become nothing short of exhausting. Any entertainment value he's brought to the Freeds is over, in my opinion. He brought the mess, but now he just talks in circles with everyone and it's so exhausting. I am so tired of his voice. It is old. And I'm also just tired of him as a person. The guy that said he wasn't going to put any women up, no people of color up. And the guy that will let men explain themselves in this game. Well, not so much Derek X, because I guess he sees Derek X as easy to overpower. And Brent's a little bitch too. I will get into that a little bit on the rankings. But he just does not let the women explain their games. If he were to just talk to Alyssa, maybe, probably not though, because it really comes down to whoever Frenchie talks to last. It gets a new fucking scenario going in his head. I'm tired just talking about Frenchie. I don't know how everyone in that house cannot be tired of Frenchie. I cannot wait till the veto ceremony is over to see if Frenchie is isolated. I hope so, because I don't want to hear him talk anymore. I need a day for Frenchie to be isolated in his HOH room and nobody talking to him because his fucking reign of idiocy is over.